you kind of hit on the coordination there. I think I have to agree with that as well. There's a lot of going in, going out, really kind of playing it slow when you need to, and then, really put your foot on the pedal when you need to as well.
Yeah, for sure. But finally, we have been able to load into the Rift Beyond Gaming versus PSG Talon. It's going to be a good one. They're already looking for an invade level 1. They have been spotted out already by Ubal.
Ooh. Okay, so they actually get the ward onto the blue buff. Interesting.
PSG Talon not really responding too much. We have got Ashy sort of wandering around BYG's blue buff. He might potentially go for just the ward and he's going to back off.
Both ADCs do have cleanse, I think wisely so. Syndra, however, does not. I feel like it is kind of hard to go cleanse as Syndra. You're just going to have to be positioning pretty well instead. Has the area in the Scorch, so definitely playing for strong early game here.
Yeah, really looking to put the nails to Ubal. On the flip side, Ubal has opted for the Doran's Shield start, which is, I feel like, not something we see too often on Sylas, but it definitely makes sense considering the matchup.
Yeah, I think you can feel pretty safe starting Doran's Shield as Sylas into most matchups these days, just because, hold that thought, Lakai, she's looking for something at level 1, but has 3 members around him. I'm not sure. He has a counter-strike, but can he walk out without taking any damage whatsoever? Maybe he can.
He's actually going to get away with that. That's That's cheeky.
Yeah, he's going to take a lot of damage on the way out.
Actually, not too much. He gets a grasp proc for his troubles too. Pops a few autos, but ultimately disrupts Husha's jungle pathing by a little bit, I guess, and he does have the info that Sejuani has started Raptors too.
Yeah, now take a look at the bot path. Viego actually solo started red. Could look for something kind of early here, but there's a ward on BYG's blue. So PSG, they are going to know that Viego is in the area bot side. Probably will not end up being able to find anything.
Yeah, ward also for PSG on the Raptors as well. So they're going to spot out Kongyu, taking those down as well. And yeah, it feels like both teams have a lot of info on the opposing team's junglers.
I feel like it was kind of interesting that BYG's bot lane leashed because I feel like, or sorry, didn't leash because I think that you can't get priority by starting in lane anyway.
Yeah.
So I think you could have leashed Viego here if you're not looking for some kind of, cheese 3-camp bot gank. But now, BYG, they could be in a little bit of trouble on the bot side here. Sedge will be in the area to kind of just facilitate Woody and Wako continuing to push this lane, and they know Kongyu will be on the top side.
Throws the grenade down. Kino, the Zenith Blade does go wide. But BYG already getting pushed in quite a decent amount, as you would expect from the Asher Heimerdinger.
Okay, 1116 actually places the ward onto the top side. Perhaps not keeping track of where Sejuani is at the moment. Well, who should look for something bot here? They know, or they should know, that Kongyu can't be in the area. At the same time, I feel like diving a Leona is very difficult. You probably just keep allowing them to push. Actually, dropping some vision, I think, is very, very nice.
Yeah, that water's going to come in very handy when Kongyu does make his return for those respawned camps. You sure going to grab the Rift... No, not the Rift Scuttle. Oh yeah, it is the Rift Scuttle. Rift Scuttler? What's the formal name for it?
I think it's a Rift Scuttler, and the other one's the Rift Herald, right?
Yeah.
Or Scuttle Crab, maybe?
Oh wow, Woody trading in really heavily onto Fang. He's out of potions now as well. He's just popped his last one.
Yeah, lots of damage traded over. I actually think this is a bit better for BYG. They do have a much stronger all-in. They kind of benefit from those health bars dropping a bit lower. Kongyu is in the area mid, but I don't think too much is going to happen. Probably just trying to make sure this wave goes in without too much, although could perhaps use 1116's mid priority for something here.
Oh, both junglers looking for the Raptors.
For a Raptor contest. I think BYG, they should be a little stronger in this mid jungle 2v2 early if they can use Syndra's priority.
It looks like they're kind of sharing the Raptors.
Yeah, so actually going to take it away. Just really good job here to take away these Raptors. With the mid priority, there's not a whole lot you can do. I think if you're PSG, Husha and Ubao really just want to make sure they hit level 6 without falling too far behind, and then they can start looking for those mid jungle 2v2s.
Yeah, Kongyu pulling slightly ahead over Husha. And I think, that Raptor steal is pretty good, although Husha did smite pretty early on that one. I feel like he could have done that a little bit better, but ultimately going to go the way of Kongyu.
Oh, and we have a pause.
The first pause of the night. We love that.
Well, there's a few biscuits in the inventories, by the way.
There's a lot of biscuits.
Haven't been eaten up yet.
And they're hungry.
Maybe it's almost Christmas time, put out the biscuits and milk. You ever do that?
I never did that myself. I
Really?
feel like it's too much admin, you know? I found out at a very young age that Santa Claus wasn't real. I'm sorry to the viewers who... I'm sorry,
You
guys.
could not just say that on podcast. Okay, but anyway, talking about the game, so not a lot has happened so far, and I think a lot of the Rift here is just kind of waiting for level 6, right? There's a lot of key ultimates, and you know, before that, it's going to be a little maybe lower on the chaos side, but I think after we see level 6 across the board, a lot of stuff is going to start happening.
Definitely. I have been told that there is a player microphone issue, so nothing too serious. Hopefully it'll get sorted out soon. Yeah. Mic issue. That's interesting. Aren't all players in the studio?
Yeah, but you still like talk through mics, right?
Yeah.
You have like white noise in your ears and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I
Yeah.
mean,
It feels actually pretty hard to hear when you've got like the white noise
that
headphones.
does. Yeah, the white noise, that freaked me out the first time I heard it. For people who don't know, it's basically just like, how do you describe
like
it? Like staticky
yeah.
noise, but it's actually like very loud, and so
Yeah,
they
it
play
is really
that.
loud.
Yeah, they play that on stage to make sure you can't hear like anything else, like the audience and stuff. And it can be pretty distracting. Thankfully, we are going to get back into the game. Not too long of a pause this time. But overall, if we take stock, PSG pulling ahead in the bot lane, but actually BYG managing to keep up relatively close in terms of CS. But they are going to have to probably copper base soon. Kongyu is in the area to try and help and dissuade any kind of dive. 1116 also moving down river slightly, but
Yeah, he drops a pink in the river, which is going to buy them a little bit of time here as PSG have to kind of reclaim control of the river. Now, actually going to start up the dragon. I think this should go over. PSG's bot lane is getting a lot of priority. You kind of expect that from the double ranged matchup. Typically, they're getting priority, but are at risk of getting ganked.
oh, there are pings going down. It does look like Beyond Gaming do want to try and do something.
They do have the mid priority from 116. Will they look to contest this? I feel like they maybe can before PSG hits those crucial level 6 moments.
Yeah, Beyond Gaming actually
Yeah,
able
okay,
to
so they actually
dissuade
force
that.
it off. I like it. So I think PSG, they have like a small window there where they could have done it, but the reality is without the mid priority, it is difficult. If you've only got priority on one of the lanes, it is just a lot harder. Ubao gets cancelled by 116's Syndra E here.
Yeah,
Nice
is
little
that
combo.
the Q-Max on the Silas? You would do that into the range
Yeah.
matchup, right?
I would think so.
But overall, I think that little dragon scuffle did benefit BOG quite a lot. You know, there's a lot of wasted time on the side of PSG. The Beyond Gaming bot lane actually going to do a quick second base and grab a little bit extra before coming back. And also, you know, Kongyu able to pull ahead a little bit more in terms of camps.
Yeah, small, very small cold lead at the moment.
But it
Mostly
is a
in the
lead.
jungle.
It's a lead.
A lead is a lead. Okay, they're actually starting. BYG is starting to move their vision into the top side, so perhaps Rift Herald will be the next objective played for. I have to see whether or not bot lanes rotate up for this, or if they decide to just be a bit more greedy. Both supports are in the area around mid. Could actually see something break out here. Ubao is walking up to the wave. The stun goes wide, but this could bait him into trading.
Kongyu is in the area, but it looks like the junglers are going to be meeting up again in the topside jungle.
Okay, Kongyu actually finds Husha on half HP, and you have the mid priority as well as Leona around.
Yeah, Leona has been pulled up, but is going to start walking back down now. I think it's really
Yeah.
dangerous to leave the Varus alone like that.
Yeah, I think.
Into the Ashe Heimdinger, so it does make sense.
Oh, actually,
116.
116 is up here, and I think Husha will end up going down. He can just follow up the R. Ooh, I think perhaps the combo wasn't the best, but Husha is actually going to be okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good stun from 116, but Kongyu not able to follow up with
Yeah.
the stun on Viego.
A nice little reprieve for Ubao. He does actually manage to get a nice base there because he was
Yeah.
really struggling with the mid lane priority, and I think what Leona did there was really, really nice. You saw Kino come up, you know, kind of hover that mid lane, allow them to get priority, and then transition that priority into the red buff. Unfortunately, kind of overstayed their welcome, end up giving up the mid wave, and don't get the kill onto Husha. And actually invested Kongyu's flash into that. So it
Yeah.
was just a flash trade.
And Ubo actually, you know, slightly ahead in CS. Not just even, but ahead. That's pretty impressive for the Silas Syndra matchup. He has got the first strike as well, so only going to keep getting stronger from here.
Yeah, I think he was actually a little behind before the waves were given up by Syndra to go for those roams. So at the end of the day, it is a trade-off. Now, Rift Herald is up, and PSG, we have Woody pathing out of base towards it. Kino is in the area as well. I think we might end up with a 4v4. Sarsol is just used for
Ooh,
poke,
that's
and
a
actually,
lot of
it's
damage.
quite a significant poke onto Kino.
He isn't
Kino's
gonna
just
have,
hit 6.
Yeah, Uber isn't going to have that available for the fight now, but I assume it was probably close to expiring anyway, so getting that extra poke damage on Kino, the main engage, is going to be super useful. PSG starting up the Rift Herald now.
And now Kino has ult here, and Woody does not. At the same time, though, PSG have Wako in the area, while Feng continues to push bot. I think if you're BYG, you want to kind of slow this down, wait for the Ashe to move back to bot. Maybe the Herald will just be going over and they play for the Dragon instead.
Yeah, Beyond Gaming looking like they're going to concede it. Pretty good for Feng on an individual scale, you know, being able to farm pretty peacefully without getting harassed too much, getting the wave in as well. The Dragon, of course, going to be good to have that in your pocket as well.
Yep, so first Dragon of the game is going to go over to BYG. It's always an interesting trade. I think we said this yesterday about how it's like a conscious choice, right? It gives you better scaling, but you have to deal with the fact that the enemy team does have the Herald. I have to see if Husha can find a place to put this. I feel like maybe if you can get an Ashe ult on mid or something, you could get pretty significant gold with the Herald.
Yeah,
Guy's actually picking up plates.
definitely does feel like having the Rift Herald gives you that sort of power of agency, because if you make one successful play onto a lane, you can snowball that even more and gain an even bigger gold lead from that.
I have to say, our kill predictions aren't looking too hot right now.
Yeah, mine is looking very dire. But I feel like that can change very quickly.
It can. Woody should be hitting 6 fairly soon.
Kino actually hovering quite a lot. He hasn't been in lane all too much, and then I'm surprised that Feng hasn't really been punished for that.
Ubao here actually manages to pick up a 10-minute rower, which feels pretty good, but he doesn't have any boots. A lot of times you see Silas just rush that tier 2 boots because it's really useful for skirmishing, obviously as a melee champion. And especially in this comp, you feel like you must go Mercs against Syndra, Leona, Varus, but will not have it. On the other hand, it's going to have a much faster rower as a result. Kino's in the area, just kind of sweeping out some of this vision. Going to allow 1116 keep pressuring his lane opponent here. And Feng, there's a lot of members around him, but as long as he has cleanse, I think he's not in too much trouble. Although might get walked off this wave. Kongyu is on top side, so Feng needs to be very, very careful here. This is a split map situation.
Yeah, he is playing it safe and backing off to his tier 2, which is, I think, the smart move. Actually, he is not doing the same, but he is relatively close to his Mega, so it might not be diveable for the side of BYG, but stun goes wide.
Goes wide. I think this is a bit ambitious from BYG. They're going to end up... It's going to cost them on the other side of the map, because even though there's no deaths, Archie is still managing to get CS.
Well, who's looking for damage? Ubao's here as well. I don't know if BYG are aware of this. Kino gets stunned up.
Next, they have the Leona ult as well. Kino is forced to flash. TP was actually used top by Lakai here, so they might actually re-engage.
Oh, no.
I feel like there's nothing that can be done here. Okay, this is Syndra's TP coming in. They actually back off of it.
Was looking potentially very dangerous for BYG, but the TP does come in from 116 to dissuade that dive. Definitely necessary there, otherwise it likely would have ended up in a double kill for PSG.
Yeah, I think this went slightly... I want to say that trade in particular went slightly better for PSG, but ultimately it was pretty even across the board. I do think it's slightly better to have denied Varus a little bit of gold and get plates onto the Ashe than it was top, because I think top, you didn't actually get any extra plates out of it, and Nar managed to farm pretty much the whole time there. Actually, trading back onto him, does have the leap.
Actually doing a really good job of kiting out there.
Gold difference is looking
It's swinging back and forth, but yeah. Beyond Gaming actually pulling slightly ahead for now. The Rift Herald hasn't quite been popped yet as far as I'm aware, so you have to keep that in mind as well.
I feel like it doesn't have that much left long run. I think it was picked up at around a little bit past 9 minutes. Yeah, not very long in the Herald. Husha probably should just drop it mid here. You have members in the area. At the same time, though, Kino is here and can maybe stop it. Kino does not have flash. They actually could look for something on him. Husha's going to get quite aggressive here. Kino, I think, might be caught out of position. Has the aftershock, and Leona is unkillable, but actually, okay, almost killable. Okay, goes down. The first blood goes over to Woody. I think Leona can buy so much time, especially with having the Merc Treads there. So they are going to find a window to Herald mid. I don't think it's going to convert into that much. Probably just a couple plates here. I think gold on the Heimerdinger, though, is actually quite good. You know, a lot of the time you don't want to give gold over to supports too much, but Heimer getting the Rylai's quicker makes a very big difference.
For sure. It provides so much utility, and on top of the Ashe slowing as well, it makes it really hard for BYG to play those, you know, those close skirmishes that are likely going to be happening. Waco has opted for the Ravenous Hydra build as well, which is interesting, I think, because it makes me wonder how these team fights are going to go later on. You know, you've got sort of a lot of range on the side of Ashe and Heimerdinger. It seems like they want to play sort of in their own area and playing a bit far back. But the rest of PSG have pretty big go buttons. And then without the Ashe DPS, it might be a bit difficult to actually find the damage to pick up kills in fights.
Possibly, yeah. We do have the Rylai's completed here by Woody, actually going to deal quite a lot of damage to Kino here. Very annoying champion to play against. 1116 is pretty low on mana and does not have TP. Dragon's in 10 seconds, so I feel like if Syndra can't find a reset soon, they might actually be forced into giving it, or at least delaying it for some time. I think if you're PSG, you can honestly just start the Dragon here, knowing that there's no way Syndra can be here in time. Kongyu actually takes away the blue. Very sad. Okay, so it actually is going to be a trade. Kongyu's looking towards top, consciously giving up this Dragon. They know they've got a Dragon already, so Dragon win condition. It's not going to be relevant for a while. And if perhaps they can speed up this Jax snowball, it could definitely be worth it. On the other side, though, Feng doesn't get the opportunity to farm bot, so goes mid instead. And it looks like it'll be Syndra that suffers the result of losing that bot farm. Now, that's first tower that actually goes over to Lakai on the Jax. I think that's pretty useful.
Definitely giving him that small gold injection. And also, you have to point out that Kongyu is doing a really good job of out-farming his jungle opponent.
Yeah, massively ahead.
Yeah, pretty much 50... Oh, I'm doing maths again. It's not good. 55 CS ahead.
Now, this could be a fight here. We have all members in the area. An Ashe arrow. Ooh, flash by Syndra.
Low.
Oh, gets ulted by Sedge. And I think Syndra is just going to instantly die here. She goes down. There's a lot of damage left for PSG, but RG does get caught out now. The Viego has the Gnar. Will he keep chasing? Silas is pretty strong here, but doesn't have any ults left to take.
Who's just still looking for it?
Kai actually managed to ninja the Herald in the midst of all that and gets out.
Wow, that was...
I think that was pretty heavily misplayed by the Syndra. She ended up
way too
far up, and I also think her build is kind of from outer space. Does have a crown.
Outer space. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, I think the crown is not really going to help you here. Either you are out of position or you aren't, and I think having Liandry's against the Size and the Sejuani is very, very useful, so I'm not really a fan of the Syndra build.
Yeah, I mean, it also just feels like it can just be so easily procced by Waco's volleys, and he's going to be throwing that non-stop already. Taking a look at the damage dealt to champions in that fight, pretty even across the board. Waco topping the damage charts for PSG, just narrowly ahead of Ubao. Whereas on the side of BYG, Feng and Kongyu doing a lot. Kongyu getting that reset really does, turn the fight pretty well in their favor.
Yeah, I think the Syndra going down so early and being such a big part of their team, like they have no other AP threat, so it's pretty much all Syndra. And her going down too early definitely makes the fight hard. She did manage to get off a lot of her cooldowns before she died, but the thing with Syndra is she has like both a lot of burst and pretty good extended damage. So surviving definitely does help. As with most champions. You know, Dragon's in 3 minutes, but there are flashes down, so we might see something. Woody kind of playing with fire. Will he go last hit that ward? It's tempting.
Surely.
Okay, so they still have the Herald, but it's on Jax. Makai is coming down, so they might look to Herald mid and break this here. Woody potentially out of position. The Syndra stun connects, and Leona ult follows up. Ooh, I don't think anything's really going to happen off that. Okay, so they do get Woody's flash. And now this tower is being sieged. We have Silas and Gnar maybe coming up. They're actually going to look to chase. The cleanse comes out of Feng onto the Ashe ult. Silas can maybe steal the Leona ult. Will he go for it? He
actually does get stunned up.
Kino still has flash. The Syndra stun connects. I think if Kino had hit that, he might have died. Kongyu kiting back. There's a lot of damage. Kino is forced to flash out.
BYG on the run.
Ashe poke really starts to add up. You know, there was an E thrown in there by Kino that I'm pretty sure if he'd hit, would have just instantly died. So pretty glad that he did not hit that.
Yeah, now PSG on the offensive. Gonna be able to take this mid tower. Oh, there's no minions though.
Yeah, can't take it quite yet. And this is actually a TP committed out of Lakai in order to keep this tower up. Now, no cleanse on the Varus. The Ashe ult is significantly shorter cooldown than cleanse, and also there are many other tools, you know, the Gnar, Sejar, that perhaps a no cleanse Varus can be punished.
Yeah, the Ravenous Hydra and Lucidity Boots for Waco means that his ult is actually already back up. That is really scary to think about. You have to assume he's got Ultimate Hunter as well. And yeah, Feng really going to have to watch himself for the next few minutes as the Dragon comes up, as well as the Baron buff. Potentially going to be a lot of fighting in the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, not having cleanse for the Dragon fight, I feel like, is kind of a big deal. The gold still remains in touching distance for both teams.
Luckily, Feng, he is on the AD lethality build, so he is able to play from range pretty effectively. He just does have to be wary of the angles that he can be attacked by, and really make sure he's keeping track of that.
Now their ping's going down onto Archie's Gnar. Will they actually look to punish him at all before this fight starts? Doesn't look like it. So just going back to controlling the river, 45 seconds on the Dragon right now. Woody, crucially, is the only member PSG missing Flash. Lakai actually has a nice flank here. He's going to go onto Waku, but Waku has cleanse. Sejao comes onto the Jax. Jax actually getting a lot of damage down. It looks like Woody is punished for having no Flash.
Kino's taking no damage.
Now Lakai getting kited out. Yeah, so the no Flash Heimerdinger was punished pretty heavily there. It was a really nice angle from Lakai as well.
Yeah.
Kind of distract the whole team. I'm not sure what happened to Woody. I think he got Syndra stunned or Leona ulted in there somewhere.
Now, definitely a lot going on in these fights, but Woody going to fall, and Waco losing his cleanse as well, which is going to be, equally as bad. Obviously, the Varus ult isn't on as short of a cooldown, but BYG do have a lot of tools to make engages of their own.
Hey,
You're going to be looking for something. Stun goes wide.
Yeah, I think it's very hard to get onto them when you're missing that Varus ult and the Leona ult. Woody is actually here in time, and BYG, they might have maybe overstayed their welcome. They haven't reset. Lakai is recalling and does not have TP. PSG might be able to get a bit of control back.
Waco is sitting on half HP, but he can still play from range, and without the Varus and Leona, as you said, it becomes pretty easy for him to play. Dragon going to be picked up by PSG, it looks like. But BYG, they're looking for a fight here.
Yeah, I think they just want to play for the fight after. Woody still does not have his Flash. Will they actually go for it? I'm not sure they can. I think you might just have to back off. The Syndra stun connects. Varus ult hits onto Silas. Ooh, very nice. Sonya's coming out from Ubao. Ashe ult does connect, but will there be any follow-up? It doesn't look like it. I feel like this is just a standoff, and they will probably just disengage. In the meantime, PSG is losing a lot of minions on the mid wave. They're going to have trouble getting back around, so while the Dragon goes over, the gold slightly better for BYG.
Yeah, Rebel does pick up the Leona ult again. We'll see if he tries to look for it here. I feel like they do actually have the advantage here. 3 minutes of BYG too far up. Stun just misses on 1116.
The connects onto 1116, and Kino, I think, is actually going to go down here. Will they push for more? I think they can.
And she's close to Mega.
Chasing, he's going to get it soon, but maybe there just isn't anything else. There's still a few tools available. Syndra stun particularly. Okay, so 1116 did lose Flash here and does not have cleanse. With the Ashe ult coming up soon, Syndra is very, very vulnerable. Ubao does get caught out on the side and does not have Zhonya's. I think he actually might have going down. Does not quite go down. The Ashe ult comes through and actually hits Syndra. Kongyu flashes over and 1116 gets hit by it, but there's no follow-up. Husha just kiting out.
Wow, just barely
very
not
low
enough
health
damage.
Bars.
Get any kills there from both sides, but PSG are going to pick up a tower as well as the Dragon from earlier for their troubles. So overall, probably a net positive for them. It does seem like even though both teams don't have this rally that we talked about earlier, still a lot of I guess hesitancy. Even though they have a lot of engage tools, feels like no one is really stepping out of line enough to be able to capitalize on that in most of these situations.
Yeah, I feel like Ashe is very hard to chase into. Obviously, just like keep spamming out the W, and same with Syndra. So even though there are a lot more engage options in this game than we've seen previously, there's also a fair amount of disengage. So it's still quite difficult, I think, to chase beyond your first pick.
Haha, beyond, I like that.
That was unintentional, everyone. I'm sorry. Now 1116 does not have Flash. Does have his crown though. Done his use, so potentially a little vulnerable. There are people in the area.
Ooh, Waco has actually finished his Muramana now as well, so going to be very strong with those relentless volleys coming out one by one. And Kino is yet to hit his mythic item as well, so you have to feel like PSG, if a fight were to happen here, they are at an advantage.
Actually a 2-level lead here in the mid lane. Ubao scaling up quite nicely. Does have the extra level from Rod of Ages. PSG, they have a lot of control of this river. I think with Heimer, you actually do it reasonably fast, even though you don't have the huge damage coming out of Ashe. Like, it could be just Ashe arrows thrown out here. I don't think it's going to lead to too much, but the cooldown is low enough that you can kind of commit it and not really be expecting too much to come of it.
I'm starting to get a little bit worried for Beyond Gaming. It does feel like the pattern that they're looking for in these fights is going to be getting Kongyu that reset and sort of letting him wreak havoc on the team fight. But PSG, they have so many tools to sort of disengage and dissuade.
TP comes in. Sejol goes out. I think
Lots of
Kino
CC.
manages to flash. Okay, but he is CC. Kino is just going to go down here.
That's a big pick. They might look for Baron here.
You can start it, but you are missing a couple of your turning tools. There's no Sedge ult. There's no Ashe ult. Okay, the Suns
Ubao's
actually turns in.
Kongyu's dropped very low here. It's going to be hard to see him contesting this fight.
Okay.
1-on-1-6
Ubao
is basing.
does not have any engage tools, so steals one of the enemy team. Lakai is actually going to look for something, but I feel like he can't. He just gets
He's coming
kited
in
too
really
hard.
far by himself.
Yeah, I think this wasn't the best play from Lakai. There's just way too much CC. We'd probably be better off trading something in the side lane.
Well,
But actually, an aggressive flash comes out from Feng and takes down Aji.
That's a huge pick from Feng. I don't think they.
Yeah,
I don't think
that
PSG can
stops
do
the
it.
Baron. Okay, but they're actually
Oh,
going
the
to
arrow.
look very, very close. The arrow goes slightly wide.
Feng does have the cleanse available anyway, but good to save that for the next fight. Dragon is up in 1 minute now. It looks like PSG.
Ooh,
Oh,
I actually can't believe that connected, and a lot of respect coming out from Feng to instantly cleanse
I
that.
feel like he probably didn't need to do that. He had a lot of his teammates backing him up there.
Yeah,
Actually
I think I agree.
panicking a little bit. And that is definitely going to hurt for this next Dragon fight coming up.
So-
Despite the fact that BYG were able to dissuade PSG from taking that Baron in the end.
Yeah, I think this Baron or this Dragon is going to be pretty explosive. There are a lot of summoners missing on BYG. They're missing 4 flashes as well as the cleanse. And with all of PSG's engage tools, they have to feel like they're pretty confident to fight this.
Yeah, PSG, it does feel like all they need to do is prevent that first person from dying. And as long as Kongyu doesn't get that reset, it's hard to see them being able to win a fight. Silas has picked up the Zhonyas now.
Yeah, 1-1-6 does not have the Void Staff, and a lot of magic resist coming in for PSG. It's going to be very difficult for Syndra to deal damage in this fight. Same time, has a little bit of true damage on the W, if she has the stacks. PSG, they have early control, and they know the BYG are missing a lot of sums. If they can pull the trigger early, they could potentially pick pretty much anyone here.
BYG, they're moving towards the Baron instead, forcing PSG to come back up and make sure they're actually not starting it.
Yeah, I like it. At the same time, I don't think you can commit too hard because the engage tools, they can kind of just chase you up the river with it. And I'm not sure I like this from BYG. They've given up all the control over the mid wave, and they're spotted out. I feel like they kind of just get herded out of this area now. Yeah, I don't really like the full commit from BYG. I like moving towards the Baron, try and get PSG away from the Dragon, at least for a while. But now they kind of just get chased off and there's no trade, not even a couple jungle camps or a top wave. They're actually moving back towards bot side, but Kino remains in the top bush. Very interesting here.
Yeah, Waco looking like he's going to start at the Dragon, and the rest of them are following, but BYG, they're looking back on the Baron again. I think they're really just trying to pull PSG away, but I don't know if it's going to work a second time.
Yeah,
It actually
I think
is.
they are.
Oh, they're pinging Husha to keep finishing the Dragon as well. This is really smart from PSG, knowing that BYG, they don't actually have the capacity to be able to finish the Baron.
Husha was spotted on that ward, so BYG, I think they're going to get quite aggressive onto this. Yeah, it looks like Husha has had to stop the Baron. Kino taking a lot of damage for free. That's really not how you want to start the fight. Huge Ashe arrow comes in. Kino does get the aftershock off, but just goes instantly down. I think BYG, they kind of got baited a little bit. Sedge showed on the blue trinket, but then she just stopped and came back up.
Really well placed arrow there from Waco. Picking up their kill on Kino means that they can actually look at potentially starting this Baron as well, or at least forcing a fight, which is, I think, what they really want here.
Yeah, I think PSG, they're in a really good spot here. Oh, actually, big chunk onto Kongyu before the fight starts, and that's really important. Kongyu's going to have a very hard time getting towards this Baron. Stun is missed from 1-1-6. It might actually be engaged on. Sejol comes through. Lakai does take a fair amount of damage, so Varusol trades back.
Husha forced the flash there on the back end of that as well, but they're still going to be on the Baron. 6k HP.
Yeah, I think they just pick it up. There's nothing really left here. I think Kino, he's been having a really rough game, constantly caught out. Yeah. Obviously, it's kind of the life of a melee support. Ult comes in, and Syndra stun does not have cleanse. The chain connection, she's going to go down.
Wow, we have 1-1-6 getting picked up on the back end of that as well. It means that PSG are going to be able to pick up the Ocean Drake as well.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the third Dragon too, assuming they do end up going to pick it up.
PSG just kind of got everything they wanted here. They managed to give the Baron without giving over a Dragon, and they got a couple kills on top of it.
Yeah, I think that 1-1-6 death time is like a really big part of that actually, because it means that PSG just has so much more freedom now with the Baron buff in hand to really wreak havoc all across the map. You can see Ubao starting to push up the top lane as well and forcing Likai to come and respond around about the outer turret. And a lot of gold to spend as well for PSG too.
Force of Nature was completed by Sejuani, so pretty much already unkillable for Syndra, but now even more so. It's going to be very difficult for her to get chunked out at this stage of the game. Now PSG, I think they probably will look to take this drag pretty early before pushing with their dragons. I think dragon is a realistic win condition for them. This will be their third. Getting some control for now.
Ubal's actually shifted back down to the bottom lane too. And it looks like PSG, they're actually not too rushed to just do this dragon, which I think is a good idea. They should focus on getting their wave set up first, so that they can get a lot of pushes out using the Baron buff. But I actually are going to do the dragon instead. I don't really like this. This is a lot of wasted time now with the Baron buff. It's probably like almost half depleted now.
Yeah, I feel like there's maybe a more efficient way to have done this, but I do like just picking up the dragon anyway. They actually look for an engage here. Kongyu, I think, might be caught out of position. They still have the Sejar. Will it be thrown down? It looks like it will not. They're just going to wait and get in these Baron waves. Don't need to feel too rushed.
Ubal might be caught out here.
Caught out. He takes a lot of damage, but actually Kongyu is kind of fully committing to this. He's forced to Zhonya's, but I think he's in a bad position. Ubal is forced to flash out. Is chased by Lakai on the Jax. He's getting very, very low and goes down to Syndra. Will they chase this? I think they can. They can kind of look to slow chase this. A lot of damage coming out.
Oh, Likai.
Yeah, Likai with a really good flank. Can maybe look to get onto Ashe here. Syndra is dealing a lot of damage to the Sedge. Oh, but the turnaround actually just ends up Ashe dealing a lot of damage there. I think the problem was that Syndra and Varus here, Fang and 1116, ended up 2 split and then couldn't really deal damage.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good play initially from BOG to be able to find that kill onto Ubal, but I think chasing through the jungle was a really bad idea. You know, chasing into an Ashe and a Heimerdinger with next to no vision.
And now, sieging. Okay, gonna back off. They don't have Silas. They did have 2 dead though. Wako, he's been having a great game so far.
Has picked up the Imperial Mandate as well. And ultimately, PSG going to be having a 4k gold lead from their Baron power play. And that pretty much is the gold lead you see in general. So a lot of, you know, despite the fact that they only picked up that mid tower and the dragon, still, you know, a lot of gold going their way overall.
Yeah, I think it's actually really problematic that Syndra's built like this, because if Varus is going for the poke build, it's obviously going to struggle to deal with these front lane tanks. And that's when you'd expect the Syndra with something like, you know, the Liandry's Ceres, the Liandry's Void, to be able to deal with that. But instead, going for Crown Shadow Flame, really just not what you need. You're not going to be able to hit the squishies here. And I don't feel like the Crown's ever saved him. It's just kind of delayed his death.
Yeah, and the worst part of it is that BOG are really reliant on, you know, Kongyu finding those resets, and without enough damage to even get that first kill. You know, we saw when BOG were able to pick up that kill on Ubal, you know, they actually started to win that fight, and that's what they need again if they want to have a chance in these 5v5s. But, you know, that lack of damage from Syndra is really going to hurt them.
These waves are being pushed in. PSG, they have a lot of control of this bot side, and then Dragon is in 2.5 minutes. There's a lot of sums up, so maybe we'll see some burn, but I don't think there will be any kills given over, at least in the meantime. I think if you're PSG here, you pretty much just need to play slow and bring BYG out of their base towards this 4th dragon. I think if you get the Ocean Soul, it feels really, really good here. There's no healing cut just yet on the side of BYG, as well as having a fair amount of poke. The Ocean Drag, very good against these.
Definitely do agree on that. Baron buff coming up again in 1 minute and 30. You can see PSG already starting to gain a little bit of control on the top side and drop a few wards.
Rabadon's is actually completed for Ubal reasonably early. He's going to have it in time for this 4th dragon fight.
Waco leading the player gold right now, 12.6k. You can really see that, you know, coming into effect. He's doing so much poke damage and hasn't died yet. It's just so difficult for BOG to be able to find that initial engage onto him when he's playing so well with his range.
Yeah, I think having both ADCs having the cleanse, it kind of gives you that one little bit of extra line of defense for all these ults and CC coming out. Now it looks like it is going to be a 4v4 contest maybe on the mid wave. Kino actually might be caught out of position again. The Ashe ult misses, but perhaps the damage is done. Not too much damage onto Kino. Ult used. I think they will be back up in time for the dragon. They're actually going to use this time in order to take a little bit of Baron control.
Overall, communication a little bit slow on the side of PSG. Ashe ult coming just that little bit too late. It could have been a really huge pick for PSG, although it is important to mention that none of the objectives are actually up quite yet.
I think if Kino had gone down, it might have meant Baron, because would still be dead at this point, and obviously much harder to control vision with your support dead. Kino is actually 0 and 5, making up a lot of these deaths here for his team. Not the best performance.
Not great.
And will we see another re-engage here that Kino is walking up and does not have flash, and he is kind of that, he's the one that's going to get hit by all this. He's the one that has to face check. The arrow does go wide.
Kino's really far up.
Okay,
Doesn't find the Zenith Blade.
Yeah, okay, the Cinder stun goes wide too. The Leona or Ubao might look for it onto the Cinder, actually just chunks Kino out with it instead. Yeah, going down to half health, it's going to make engaging much more difficult. And walking into Heimerdinger turrets doesn't feel the best. Now, Dragon is up. A lot of poke coming out from Wako. Okay, the chain actually connects and is in the middle of the fight. Really good Zhonya's manages to dodge. Oh, actually nice Gnarl, but it's flashed out. Varus is still alive and Syndra goes down.
Well,
he actually looks to re-engage. Woody is taking a lot of damage here on the side, but is he going to go down? Lakai, he manages to kite out now. Ooh, it actually turned the Viego around. I thought he was going to keep going with it. It was kind of difficult to tell what was going on in this fight. There was a lot of split fights here, but I think PSG, they come out on top with a 1 for 2, and I think they will be able to pick up the Ocean Drag. Oh, actually cancels the base onto Kongyu. And TP coming in, if Kongyu ends up going down, could be Baron. He's still playing in the Viego Shroud.
Oh, PSG actually finding it hard to get into the pit and attack this dragon.
I think you just start it. If BYG come to contest, even if they get the drag, you can just kill them and look to Baron straight after.
Yeah, Kongyu's on a flank, but he's, you know,
I think they're giving too much respect. Okay, the Ashram comes through and it does hit onto Lakai. Lakai is taking a lot of damage, has the counter strike. Actually, lots of damage being traded here from the Varus.
Oh, BYG cutting out really well here.
Ooh, very, very low health bars across the board. Lakai goes in, but flashes come out. Ubao, the chain's going to connect. Is he going to go down? He does.
The reset.
The Vanguard actually gets the reset. Aji here, though, is on full HP, and I think he can just chase him down. Kongyu goes over the wall, but you feel like Nara should be able to chase. But there's actually Kino and 1116 are back on the map here. And I feel like Dragon might not end up going down.
Kongyu's on the run as well. Ooh. Oh, it does connect the stun.
Wow, all 3 ults were used onto him, and actually, and the flash. Pretty much got as much as he could there, but does still end up going down. And with the jungler's death being so late, I think PSG might be able to go from this to Baron, if they really want to.
Yeah, you can see BOG really not interested in this dragon anymore. Looking to get as much vision cleared out on the top side as possible, but actually going to miss out that one ward around about the blue buff. It's going to be pretty dangerous. You know, it is a flank TP ward, although both TPs have already been expended for the side of PSG. And actually it's expired just now, so ignore me.
Resets come through. PSG looking to play it safe here, just want to regain that topside control. They have the soul. They know they don't need to do anything risky. If they just continue to play the game slowly and methodically, are going to find themselves picking up a win.
Yeah.
Fang is missing both sums, by the way. Okay, let's take a look at the replay. Yeah, so I think the engage was kited out pretty well from BYG.
Fang pops the cleanse.
Fang was putting a lot of damage out, and Ash kind of struggling to get any damage beyond the front line. But I think the re-engage from Lakai maybe wasn't it. If he just backed off, that he gets kited out. Ubao, he went back in. And even though the Viego gets the reset, the problem is Azzy comes back with full HP and can just start chasing them down.
Yeah, and at this point, you know, Fang isn't in any position to return any DPS. And would have actually been pretty good for BOG there. You know, they were kiting that fight out quite well, doing a lot of damage. But as you said, that re-engage from Leakai, potentially pretty unnecessary considering that 1116 and Kena were on their way back.
Okay, Ashal is fished for again, but does miss. It's got a very short cooldown though. The Leona was picked up by Ubao once again.
Ooh,
Keno. Oh, does kind of go wide. I think this is kind of PSG in a much better spot here. They can keep poking. A lot of the engage tools have been used already. They have the bush control. It's very, very difficult to face check this. But Kai actually takes a lot of damage. He's extremely low, and I think he just dies. Ubao might look to continue to chase here. Oh, 116 gets hit by, and he does not have cleanse. I think he's just going to go down. Aji gets in with the Gnarl. Kino taken down as well. I think they might just be able to end off that. Only the Varus and the Viego alive. Not a lot of wave clear between them. Literally just the Varus ults.
Yeah, you have to imagine this is the game now for PSG with the Ocean Drake. You know, all full HP bars. I don't see a world where they don't end here, and really well played by them. You know, they're just playing very patiently in the side river bush and forcing BYG to come and check in. Ultimately, it's Leakai who's the first one he drops, and then the rest of them follow.
Can they hit this tower? I mean, Varus has a lot of damage, and there isn't a ton of threat left up onto him. Kongi goes in and just instantly drops. Feng, I don't think he can do much. He's trying his best, but it looks like PSG is going to take out first game of the day. 17, oh, actually 23 kills total. I think I said 24.
Okay, so you won this time, but PSG